Alright, so it's another day. I'm gonna try and make filming less boring and just, I'm basically just not gonna try and make content that I'm not capable of doing, and I'm just gonna try and build from something small. Like, I'm very much start small, build big, and so I just don't want any editing or any fancy anything really. It's just, this is what I'm doing, and this is where I'm hoping it'll take me. And then if I can gain some level of a mastery over that, then I can kind of integrate some level of creativity into how I want to convey the message later on. But right now it's just, this is how I'm trying to recover. This is how I'm trying to heal. And if you find it interesting, then just learn from what I'm doing and work out how that can be used by you effectively in your own style. I'm trying to just do as many kind of like supported pull-ups as I can in one breath. And obviously, I'm reducing the weight by springing myself up a bit, or as much as I need to really to reduce pressure, particularly on my left shoulder, until it heals. I get a lot of pops and cracks, and there's muscle weakness and all sorts of stuff I've got to deal with and be sensitive around to not threaten injuring it again. And so it's just caution, and then obviously form into full extension, and then just progressively overload. Maybe I'm missing something, but there doesn't really seem to be enough programs that I've been aware of where people kind of teach you how to go from nothing to competence with an exercise. And so the market is kind of wide open for people who want to teach people where to start and how to do so, and save as much time as possible. I also think I've probably spoken too much and I've kind of run out of things to say. Alright, so this is definitely one of the exercises that is a little more humbling, but I've ended up with one of those indoor trampolines just to kind of restore the mobility on both my knees, and also a lot of, I think, potentially small muscle damage I had in my feet. Just, it's the pops and cracks. It's just like damaged muscle, and it was just all over my body. And so it's actually these trampolines are actually great, and in terms of like the most basic exercise to do at home, I mean, like, it makes you look ridiculous, and and I definitely wouldn't gear to do it to this sort of exercise in like a gym-like environment, but just, I think, because it's so boring, or because it's so humble, it's not like running a marathon or climbing a mountain, or just even running around the block, really. It's literally just the most basic mobility. It's kind of like I'm in a baby bouncer, and I'm looking to be reborn, and just kind of like engage the legs and the spine and the shoulders, but you'd be amazed how effective this is. And like, you know, you can play some music. Like I'm listening to some like dude play pans because it's quite relaxing. Ideally, I'd like to do it just in silence because it's so boring, and I think it would actually make me a more methodical and effective individual if I can just do something kind of almost mechanically, you know, without placing my ego into it, really. It's just, you know, switching off and becoming quite effective at doing that while doing a simple and methodical task, which life ends up being, I think, if you want to be successful. Behind all the glamour is this slow, methodical nature of which successful people embody. I think, obviously, you know, I wouldn't consider myself successful in many ways. Or I think currently, actually, in any way. Which I definitely have to change, obviously. Because no human should really think in those frameworks or frame themselves in a ideology under which they don't think the things they have done have had any merit or value. Because, I mean, I have worked hard, but I just, it was just the foundations I was provided. They were rocky or unstable. And I always had this understanding of this in the back of my mind. And it ensured that I think personally I wasn't able to confidently begin life because I didn't allow myself to be kind of like vulnerable or whatever for so long. And I saw the other day, it's like, yeah, vulnerability is your ability to absorb new information and grow. Because if you don't accept the fact that you're vulnerable, you can't actually absorb new information effectively, and your life becomes like, this is basically what narcissism is, as far as I can tell, you know. And I must have been like somewhat of a narcissist, really, just using a hard outer shell to protect myself. But, you know, anybody with intelligence can see right through that, I think. And vulnerability is a strength at the end of the day, because it's your ability to grow and absorb new information and to become a better individual. Like the change this trampoline has led to in my body has been quite remarkable. And it's quite nice because you can just shift positions, and you can do that like knees over toes stuff, you know, which is basically static walking backwards. And then you can shift positioning of the spine. And obviously, because the spine's going up and down, you end up with some engagement in the shoulders, although only minor. But you can actually do weighted and just kind of like, look, girly 1 kilogram weight. Obviously start with this, and then I imagine you'd move up, but you'd be amazed at, like, my understanding of the human world and human life is, we weren't doing exceedingly large weights often. Most muscle is built from consistent low weight over long periods of time, you know. And it's just like imagine you're like picking up firewood, or picking up bone fragments, or picking up a child. You know, it's just like all these small weights over a consistently long period of time. And, you know, your muscles eventually adapt to that, and they become these endurance machines with energy reserves and, you know, just the capacity to keep going. And then obviously, eventually, you do larger weights where you might hunt and kill an animal, and then you'd carry a haunch of meat weighing like 20 kgs or whatever. And you might carry that like 10 miles. But it's just, I think all exercise starts from small weights, high endurance, because, as you know, the human animal is just meant to be moving all the time. I believe, kind of thing. You know, and I can definitely reflect on how much, as a younger person, I remained static, playing video games, or, you know, just sitting in a chair at school, you know, and like, what value was this bringing to my life? School. I mean, I reflect on it, I learned nothing. Nothing of value. Like, literally. I learned non-value. Alright, so, sorry about this, but I didn't want to do any topless stuff, but I've just got to record everything. That's kind of what I look like currently. Quite skinny, but, you know, not unhealthy, and I've got a bit of eczema, but it's getting better, and it's getting much better than it once was. I don't really want to get in the habit of doing that, but I've actually got to record everything, because I've got to accept the situation that I'm in. If I'm ever actually going to move beyond it, I need to understand these foundations and, you know, who I am in this moment and where I want to go. And to do that, yeah, I've got to face up to what I would consider as truth, reality, present moment, you know. And so, you know, I won't do that often, what I've just done, but I do need to, in stages, kind of record some of the more, you know, I suppose, vulnerable bits of information. Alright, so currently 11 stone, 10 pounds, 1/8. And the idea is, I'm supposed to get to 12.5, and then once I'm at 12.5, kind of figure out kind of what I'm at optimally. But I kept trying to just put on weight unnaturally, and the idea was, I just thought I could put on weight progressively, but I was just putting on fat, actually, in reality, rather than balanced fat and muscle. So let's just see where we go, mate. So I think through injury, you're better off doing large numbers of low weight, because even just those pull-ups earlier have left, a little bit of a dull ache in my left shoulder, and mobility feels a bit restricted. And that's obviously because I'm filming and I don't want to come across like a capital P. So yeah, I gotta be cautious. I'm still on the road to recovery, and it's not about looking good. It's about being effective. And so, just be aware of your experience and not what other people are saying. One of the main ideas is to spill none. Who?
You. Can you do it a little less whatever, because of the house and the neighbours?
Sorry? Alright, so I've had to reposition myself. It's just all part of the game, I suppose. I think, unfortunately, because of health, been forced into this position, and it's absolutely up to me to take responsibility for it and just accept the consequences of that, I suppose, rather than demonizing an individual who chose to raise me with emotional aggression and manipulation and controlling forces, which weren't beneficial for a man or for a boy who wanted to become a man. I suppose at least it leans me more into some level of creativity to navigate the rocky shores between where I sail. Let's hope I can become something of the man I want to be. definitely wish I'd cottoned onto all of these disciplined exercises when I was younger. But I conflated the issue. I thought I was meant to understand all the answers before I got started, rather than understanding the answers as I moved along through questions. You know, as soon as you're presented with a why, it's good to find a solution. That answers the question effectively. You know, why are my hands weak? Because I haven't been training them with anything that would cultivate strength within my grip, or within my forearms, or within my elbows. You know. A lot of the problems I faced when a kid were actually, in hindsight, because of malnutrition. Which sounds ridiculous to say, but it's actually true. Low fat, low salt, low protein, high carbohydrate diet bullshit. Absolute BS. You know. Now I'm high fat, high protein, no carbohydrate diet. And now I'm compelled to exercise, and if I don't, I feel weird. One of the bigger issues I face is how slowly muscle grows, and I suppose that's why I've got to refine all the steps so I can heal my body as effectively as possible in whatever time frame I'm given. Like, I'm 30 now. You know, I've got like 7 years. And all those, you know, those 7 years are broken down into 6-month stages and 2-year stages, and, you know, even 1-month stages. Sometimes 1-week stages. You know. Man, I feel like we're all born expecting support from the people closest to us. But my God, if you find support from the people who are closest to you, you are truly blessed. Most of them just try and give you the answers to your life, which are yours and not theirs. I feel like love is a question. It is not an answer. How much truth there is in that, I don't know. But I know, from my point of view, that love is not being given the answers. It's being given permission to find them for yourself. And being supported in that journey. When someone gives you the answers, what they offer you is their control. And this is not love. Not to me. I don't want control. Control is a box. Control is a prison. When doing this, I always think of those videos of just kind of like people doing humble work. Who seem to develop a certain resilience and strength. It's basically impossible to get from anything other than methodical, patient work. You gotta pick up one grain at a time. I've never spilled that much. I suppose this is the meaning of discipline. How are you meant to learn from a lesson if you don't feel the force of the punishment? Alright, that took ages. Alright, the camera is a gimbal, so what I just tried didn't work. I couldn't even imagine picking up the entire bucket of rice. That would be ridiculous. But I did it. It just requires focus, which I think is quite a good thing.